Gold Monkey Mike, you have been brought here because you believe that you know about inflation. You spend your time on YouTube talking to these gullible people while...
Hey, my subscribers are not gullible.
Don't interrupt me. I was not talking about your subscribers. I was talking about those who have not yet clicked the subscribe button or the like button. But as I was saying, they watch you and believe you are an expert who knows all there is to know about inflation. But I want to play a game with you. There are two big buttons here. If you choose the one on the left, it is because you believe that stagflation is better to have than a recession. If you choose the one on the right, it is because you believe that a recession is better to have than stagflation.
What if I think it isn't better to choose either one?
I told you not to interrupt me. This is a game. If you do not choose, then you will die. The clock is ticking, Gold Monkey Mike.
So in our last video, we talked about this big scary monster known as inflation and how we can beat it in 2023. But as Jiggy points out over here, there might be some more monsters out there in the economy that are just lurking around. I'm going to take a closer look at two of them, stagflation and recession, because as you know, apparently my life depends on it. Think of it like a classic monster movie. Prices are skyrocketing, jobs are scarce, and everything is going wrong. This is the reality of stagflation and recession, but really, which one of them is the most terrifying? Let's first examine stagflation. This phenomenon is the combination of high inflation and stagnant economic growth, and it has the power to wreak havoc on businesses, households, and the overall economy. But what causes stagflation and how can it be dealt with? Let's find out. Stagflation exists in an economy where prices are rising at an alarming rate and jobs are running scarce. This is the reality of stagflation. It's a situation where the cost of goods and services are rising, but the economy is not growing at the same pace. This can make it difficult for consumers to afford their basic necessities, and can also make it harder for businesses to make a profit. But one of the main causes of stagflation is an increase of the price of oil. When oil prices go up, the cost of producing and transporting goods and services increases, which leads to higher prices for consumers. Additionally, stagflation can also be caused by a weak currency, which makes it more expensive to import. It could also be caused by high interest rates, which make it more difficult for businesses to borrow and then eventually grow.
Time is running out, Gold Monkey Mike.
You know, when I get out of here, I'm going to rip your head off and I'm going to shove it up Schwarzenegger's.
You're assuming that your viewers watched the previous video in this series.
Now, let's talk about recession. A recession is a period of economic decline characterized by a decrease in economic activity, plus rising unemployment and falling GDP. It's a time when businesses struggle to make a profit and many people lose their jobs. But what causes a recession and how can we deal with it? Recession is caused by a variety of factors, including a decline in customer spending, a decrease in business investment, and a lack of access to credit. When people spend less, businesses make less money and they may need to lay off employees. Additionally, when businesses invest less, it can lead to slow economic growth and job losses. Plus, when credit becomes harder to access, businesses may have a harder time growing and consumers may have a harder time making big purchases. So can these economic issues be combated, and how can we achieve that? One approach is to use monetary policies such as cutting interest rates. When interest rates are low, it's cheaper for businesses to borrow and for consumers to access credit. This can help to stimulate economic growth and create jobs. However, this approach can have its own negative consequences, such as creating inflation and leading to bubbles in the housing market or other areas of the economy. An alternative strategy that can be employed is the utilization of fiscal policy measures, such as ramping up government spending or reducing taxes. This can invigorate economic expansion and generate employment opportunities. However, it's important to note that this approach can have the potential to amplify budget deficit and lead to an escalation in government debt. Fiscal policy works by adjusting government spending and taxation levels to influence the economy. For instance, increasing government spending can act as a stimulus for government growth by pumping more money into the economy, leading to increased consumption and investment. On the other hand, cutting taxes can put more money into people's pockets and lead to increased spending and
economic growth. You are trying my patience, Mike. You have only 1 minute left. If your audience does not want to see your choice, they can click the card in the top corner of the screen to learn about the history of bear markets. But they will leave this video knowing that you will soon perish.
It's also important to think about what could happen in the long run if we rely too much on expanding government spending. This could cause prices to go up and make it harder for us to pay back the money we owe. Therefore, policymakers need to strike a delicate balance between utilizing fiscal policy as a tool for economic growth, while also ensuring that it doesn't lead to adverse consequences in the long run. Another solution for a recession is to focus on structural economic reform that can improve long-term growth potential of an economy. This can include improving the efficiency of the economy, such as reducing regulations and bureaucracy, investing in infrastructure and education, and opening up the economy to international trade. So which is worse? While both stagflation and recession have negative effects on the economy, stagflation is generally considered more difficult to deal with. This is because it's caused by a combination of factors, including high oil prices, a weak currency, and high interest rates. Furthermore, government policies that help combat recession, like cutting interest rates, could make stagflation worse, causing inflation to rise. It's also important to note that both stagflation and recession can cause a lot of negative effects on a society, such as an increase in poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Moreover, it could poorly impact the value of people's savings, investments, and overall financial security. In conclusion, both stagflation and recession are economic challenges that could have serious economic consequences. But when it comes to which one is worse, well, stagflation is generally more difficult to deal with than recession, so yeah, stagflation is worse, so I'll choose recession.
Good choice. You survived today in this basement, and hopefully the events here have prepared you for what's to come out there in the real world. It doesn't look good. The Fed is going to raise interest rates again, and deflation could become a reality. You can explain that in your next video on this series. Good luck.